We are gathered here at an incredible moment.
This is actually the 10th in-person gathering in the history of the RFF. How do we work together as a community, as a global platform? What are the priorities, and how do we engage one another so that we are really able to push the boundaries, the frontiers of responsible finance?
India is the epicenter of inclusive finance. Universal digital IDs for 1.4 billion people, the India stack, UPI, APIs, eKYC, eSign, the digital locker are just a few of the elements that have all come together to really accelerate the financial inclusion revolution.
GPFI as a working group is very much mindful about the need for the responsible and effective financial inclusion.
There is a need to build customer confidence and trust in the formal ecosystem. The women in the most vulnerable groups could be more disadvantaged if they are not a part of the design phase itself. At the end of the day, it's about the value that these tools bring to the individuals, to businesses, and to governments.
The work that all of us do has never been more important.
The speed at which trust is earned is the speed at which a coconut tree grows. The speed at which trust is lost is the speed at which a coconut falls.
Digital helps, but what also require is a public service infrastructure. For a DPI, you need a PSI.
Need somebody to enable the entire environment by setting up some rules of the game.
How do we bring women along in this journey? If we don't bring 50% of the nation along, then we'll lose $1 trillion in economic growth.
The pace at which technology is changing, we will end up taking a long time to bring people, and in that time, the divide grows exponentially.
In financial services in particular, trust is it's truly foundational.
1 in 4 unbanked adults said they don't trust the financial system.
The bigger concern here is the halo effect. So it's not even just that user, it's their family, it's their relatives and their friends that they tell that story to, that they share that experience with.
An agent body is not limited to just facilitating transactions. They are doing so much.
There's also a role for regulators in building a system that people trust.
Poor customers are not consenting from a place of free will. Poor customers are consenting from a place of compulsion.
Informed consent is broken. We started to dig into the data that could be used by digital lenders. Once we started to unpack that with consumers, they were upset and kind of aghast that this kind of information was being collected and used.
Removing the onus away from the consumer to protect themselves. Who needs to be responsible?
There's really a need to have a very strong legal framework for handling complaints as well as doing market conduct.
The people that have the expertise and the skills to understand the products, understand the risks, are not the people that are actually able to address and bring in recourse.
We've stopped giving recommendations as we focus only on options, and one of the options is always doing nothing. Doing nothing is a policy choice.
The work is not done in that trust-building exercise to ensure that whatever gains we've made in financial inclusion through access is now continued with continued use, and that heavily relies on trust.
The scale, the explosion makes it urgent. But then the behavior and the actions after that also must have a sense of urgency to get it right.
A woman came in our bank who was our borrower, and she said, I cannot repay further loans because I'm earning for my family alone. My husband has ran away. I have children going to school and I have to look after them. Find some solutions. And our manager was, no, we don't want to listen to anything. You have to repay, your account is in NPA, this and that. That was the first time I thought, not women. Bankers need to be educated.
Correct. Gender can be treated as just a categorical variable. How can you use data points, including the lived experience of the users?
Women need to be part of this conversation. So how do we co-design solutions?
Climate change is expected to push up to 130 million people into poverty over the next decade.
Talk about silo, right, between sustainable finance people and financial inclusion people. That is actually very true.
When I was talking to the people, including our own people, I was asking them as to how we are going to protect ourselves, our customers, from this cyclone, because this cyclone is going to come the next year or maybe the next year again. And they told me God will save us and government will help us. We need to come up with a framework that helps us understand what is the magnitude of the risk, how we are going to deal with it, how we are going to supervise it, how we are going to measure it, and how we are still going to remain financially stable.
We have a community there, like the fishermen, largest mangrove in the world. When I asked them, how can we help you? What is your problem? So in the 4-hour discussion, they never talked about money, not a single time. The first problem was drinking water. Nobody kind of kept their promises. How do we know we are going to solve the problem, right? So I think building trust is very important.
These days, we've talked about low-income users, farmers, women. Did you see them on the video? Did you see them in most of the website, on most of the reports that are talking about cybercrime or about cybersecurity? No. I love it when we said cybersecurity is an imperative. Yes, but it's also a shared responsibility. Part of the iceberg that we don't see is exactly how people are affected.
But this technology is out there. It's the scrambled egg. You call on scrambled egg.
So even at the national level, the tone must be set. Cybersecurity cuts across every sector of the country.
Together, we can help the most vulnerable build their resilience against the challenges of today and reap the benefits of the digital economy for tomorrow.